this is the mother. Now I'm going to be sending or leaving a mother for you. This is what we call it. It's a yeast mixture. And you need to keep it fresh, refresh it and feed it. So it looks like that. And smells very acidy and vinegary. And it's got little air bubbles in it, which is good. Normally, to feed your mother, I would take out 2 spoons, give it a stir, and I'd take out 2 spoons of it. And I would put it, you can use it, today I'm using it to make another mother, the spare one for me. But you can either use it as a base for pancakes or other things that need kind of yeasty stuff. Today, so you take 2 tablespoons out, which leaves you about 1 tablespoon in. Then you've got some strong bread flour, which I'm going to put 2 heaped tablespoons in to the mother. And this will feed it. And I might do a little bit more actually, 2.5. And then you give that a stir. It smells quite vinegary. That's good. Then I've got some just off cold water. It's warm water, something that you'd bathe you'd wash a little baby's head with. That kind of warm. Because you want it to be warm, you don't want to kill it. And you give that a stir. It's really gloopy and bready. A bit more because you want it quite sloppy. So I just put a bit of boiled water, a bit of cold tap water with a touch of boiling water in. You want to get all those floury lumps out really. Now if you wanted to start your own mother from fresh, sometimes the mother goes off. If you want to start your own mother up from fresh, you just put 2 great big tablespoons of flour in a jar and put the water in just like this, but you can't use it straight away. I won't have built up any bacterias. What you need to do is just do the same thing every day, once a day, for about 4 days until you start noticing the little bubbles come in. So that's nice and smooth now. Really nice and smooth. And no bubbles or air bubbles in there. They're going to grow now. What will happen is this will feed on that and it will rise almost to fill this jar, and then it's ready. And then as it runs out of food, it all sinks. So I feed this every day because I make bread every 3 days. If you just wanted to make bread once a week, you could put this in the fridge, and if you wanted to make bread on a Saturday, say, you feed your mother, put it in the fridge or a cool place, and then you take it out on the Thursday and you'd bring it to temperature, which is warm room temperature, and you would do that process, feed it, and then do that on the Thursday, do it on the Friday, and then you could use it on the Saturday then, if you only wanted to make it once. But I just keep mine on the top here. Okay. So by using this way, this system of sourdough, you never need to go out and buy yeast or anything. What happens is all the yeast, which we've got yeast, we're surrounded by yeast in the air and on us and in us. And this will uses the wild yeasts that are around you. So when you close your lid, it's important not to over tighten it. You tighten it and then you open it back one, or if you use this without the orange seal, because you want air to get in. You want it to start pulling out yeast from the environment. the other thing I wanted to say is when you wash these things, put these in cold water first, because if you put them straight into the hot water, they just bake on. Okay, right, now this is about 5 o'clock normally on the evening. I start this. You're preparing your bread to bake tomorrow. So I've got 8 ounces of strong white bread flour, and then I put 8 ounces of a multi-flour. You can put 8 ounces of just, you can put the whole lot of white or the whole lot of multi-brown or brown or whatever. But this is what I do. And this has got bits of seeds in. You can also just use the white flour, strong white flour, and put your own seeds in if you've got special seeds that you like. So that's 2 piles of 8 ounces. And I give that a stir to mix those up. The good thing about this is you don't get your hands in and get it all yucky till it's a bit drier. So that's that in there. Then I've got my mother that I made earlier, and that's starting to rise and it's got bubbles in it. You can see that's good. Smell it. It smells all yeasty. Now this is, most of this is going to go in to that. But I leave that much in because I need to refresh that later on. I will be feeding that with 2 tablespoons of white flour and a bit of warm water. Mix it up again, and I'll do that to keep that going. So I've got 325 ml of just warm water. That's going to go in there. Apart from a little bit at the bottom, just leave a little bit, 50 ml say, and I've got a teaspoon of salt. That goes in there. That goes in half an hour or so. Can't remember why, but there's a reason. So that's all I've got in there. Pound of flour, that's 2 8 ounces, isn't it? Pound of flour, your mother, and 325 ml of just tepidly warm water. Something you can put your hands in quite comfortably. Then I got this spatula, and I'm literally scraping the side, chop chop, scrape the side, chop chop chop. Don't get my hands in or anything. Don't have 10 minutes of kneading and all that. Right. But what you're going to have to do is come back every time you come into the kitchen in the evening. You should do that again. So that's all I need for that now. I'm going to cover it with a clean cloth, cover me a little bit of water and salt. I'm going to come back in half an hour and add the salt water that's left into there. And that's that for now, just to feed me mother. Right, so it's just about 6 o'clock-ish, half an hour-ish, it doesn't have to be specific. That's my salt water, just plopping in, finish this off. It's a bit, all you do is twist and fold, it's over. Pulling it from the outside into the middle. I'm going to get all that bit off there, scrape that off. It's quite sticky. And I'm going to just chop that a bit to get that water in. I think you wait for half an hour because it's something to do with the salt and the water. You don't have to worry about mixing it all in. I just do that for a couple of minutes. And then I'll leave it now. And then every hour I come in, and just do that again, a little bit of a mix, till about 10. Okay, so it's 7 o'clock. There we are, you can see the little bit of water there. And basically I'm just going to try and integrate that in. I'll just come and do this more or less every time I come at the kitchen, which is probably every hour, me cruising looking for food. and give it a little stir. You can do it more often or less. That'll do. That'll do. Wait for a bit. I've got a date. $8:15. Not very exciting. All the water's gone in now, see? So, scrape the side, twist, fold into the middle. Just do that a couple of times. Look at it. Lovely. That's fine. Time for a piece of chocolate. Starting to look a little bit more fatter, I think. More of it. Just twist and tuck. Put it to bed. Nuts now. Okay, right, this is the last bit now. Later than I said, I'm going to be late to bed, but it doesn't matter. Right, now this time you need this little bowl. Basket. Bamboo little basket thing. You don't really actually need one of these. I just like to have the patterns. You could use a glass bowl. And I put the cloth in there now, because this is where the dough's going to go. So give it a really good dusting of flour, because you don't want your sourdough, which is quite moist, to stick to that. Here we are. Still, see how sticky that is? It's coming off the sides. Now you can feel that it's actually risen a bit. Get some good handful. I've washed my hands obviously. And now you're pulling it together. You're stretching it, pushing it in the middle. Stretch with the right hand and you're turning it round the bowl. Stretch, push in the middle. It's actually the only time you get your hands on this. A little bit more flour if you need, but don't make it too dry. Okay, that's coming nicely, all floury. Now you're just folding it in, pushing it down. Be hard to write this on. Don't know how you'd write it. But what I'm actually doing is pushing it over like that. So I'm stretching that bit. And then I'm now going to put this face down in that flour. And there we are. Little dusting of flour on the top so that your cloth does not stick to it. And that is going to stay here all night till the morning in the warm room. In the morning I'll be getting that ready for the oven, which will be later. Okay, got to wash my hands now, and then olives. Morning, and now look, see how the bread has risen, and it bounces back when you poke it in, so that's lovely and ready. So I've got the oven on 250, which is boiling up, and then I have a pan in the top that I can put water in. A cup of water, this just produces some steam. Put that in now. That is boiling. The saucepan I'm going to cook it in is this cast iron pot. It's not the dear ones, it's one of those cheap ones from Sainsbury's, and they're great. And it's 22 inches. Is it 22 inches? No, centimetres. Right, now I'm going to take my little, did you see that? Bit of paper, and then flip it over. Leave that on there. Not forgetting that this pan now is boiling hot. You've got your cookie paper up, plop it in there very, very carefully. Just let it ease itself down because you don't want to get all the air out of it. And then, because you've got loads of flour on this, this will peel off really gently and slowly. Just really be glad that you put a lot of flour on. Then you see the little shape of the basket. Then you can either cut a slice of pattern in with a big sharp, very, very sharp knife. I haven't got any sharp knives, or a blade, but I just do these little things like that. And then you're ready to go in the oven. And that will go in there for half an hour.
Yeah.
Right. At the minute, it feels rock hard. You do need your teeth in to eat this bread, but it will soften up. You have to leave it for an hour now before you taste it. It makes it easy. You can eat it straight away, but it makes it easier to digest if you leave it for an hour, which is fine because I've got to make some soup. I'll just leave it there, sit there. Look at the lovely little patterns. What I like to do is I turn the oven off, because I forgot to say that is at 250 on a fan oven, so that's really hot. And rather than waste the energy now, I usually put my start of the soup in the oven to cook. So I've not wasted that hot oven. Which will be a new potato today, which you'll see later. Thank you. Look at that. Yours for a £5. Just so you can see it does soften up. And that's what it's like inside.